How much does it mean to you personally to do this?
Yeah, so, me, this building, and the building next door, none of this would exist without boxing. And, I talked about it for a long time. Here we are, and, just everything in life is about timing. And right here, right now, it all feels perfect. The timing feels absolutely perfect. And now we got a lot of work to do. I talked a lot of smack about the things that I didn't like about boxing, but I also said, if you look at the UFC and not just the success of it, but the sustainability of it, I took everything that I loved about boxing and everything that I hated about boxing and how we built the UFC. So if it works for you, for the UFC, it should definitely work for boxing.
Y'all can hear me now?
Yeah.
Y'all be quiet, y'all hear me.
After the biggest win of his career against Canelo Alvarez, Terrence "Bud" Crawford did the one thing nobody expected. He walked away. He threw a massive retirement party, posted a 5-minute career tribute, and told the world he had absolutely nothing left to prove. He left as the pound-for-pound king with a flawless 42-0 record, seemingly closing the book on one of the most dominant runs in boxing history. But while Crawford was settling into life as a retired legend, Dana White was behind the scenes drawing up a contract that could change everything. The UFC boss isn't just looking to enter the boxing world. He's looking to take it over. And he's identified the one man who can make his new promotion. Zuffa Boxing, an overnight powerhouse.
We did the Canelo Crawford fight. The UFC team did that. We're building a whole new team as far as production goes. Again, that will all be a work in progress over the next year. We'll start signing more talent. The growth from 26 to 27 will be massive. Going to implement a lot of things that I always wanted to do production-wise with boxing. And then we had a production meeting today with a lot of great ideas. And if you think about what a well-oiled machine the UFC is, it took 25 years to get there. In 1 year, we will crush this thing in the next year. Thank you.
My question's for Dana. Joaquin Buckley recently said if Zuffa wants to create stars, they're going to have to use their UFC fighters in order to do so. Do you think there's any truth to that? And also, maybe could we see any UFC fighters face boxers?
I think there's going to be a lot of shit talking both ways in this thing. We're going to have to use UFC fighters to create stars. I don't know, man.
Could we see UFC
What does that mean?
I think what he's saying is that he wants UFC fighters to face boxers in Zuffa boxing.
That I do not want.
Okay.
I didn't want that when I wasn't involved in boxing, and I definitely don't want it now.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
The reason Dana White is so obsessed with bringing Bud back isn't just about his name. It's about that masterpiece performance we saw in September. When Crawford moved up to 168 pounds and dismantled Canelo Alvarez, he didn't just win a fight. He sent a message to every promoter on the planet that he is still operating at a level far beyond anyone else. Dana White watched that fight and saw a guy who wasn't just winning but was completely untouched by age. To Dana, letting a talent like that sail off into the sunset is a crime against the sport. White has been vocal about the fact that Crawford is still the best in the world, and he's made it clear that he's willing to back up that belief with a bank account that few in the boxing world can compete with.
Earlier today, there were reports that Zuffa Boxing is in talks with Alexander Usyk. I'm curious if those are true reports.
The reports are the what?
You guys are talking with Alexander Usyk about
We're talking to everybody that we think are the most talented people in the world or have the potential to be the most talented people in the world.
Cool. And then lastly, I saw you reply to Maurizio Suleiman. I think he commented on a Boxing Social post. You replied to Maurizio Suleiman. Eddie Hearns had his things to say. All these guys are obviously speaking out about you coming into the sport. What are they not understanding about your ambitions for boxing?
Well, here's the thing. They were very concerned about the Muhammad Ali Act and all these other things. None of that is going to change for them. Nothing's going to change. Muhammad Ali, we're not changing one word of that. It's going to be intact. I don't know why. Now fighters are going to have more options. Why is that a bad thing? Why are more options a bad thing? It's not. I expected it anyway. So And I don't listen to fucking Oscar De La Hoya anyway. Anybody who listens to him is out of their fucking minds, so I don't worry about him.
But this isn't just talk or typical promoter hype. Dana White is already making massive moves to ensure Zuffa Boxing is more than just a side project. He's been quietly assembling a stable of killers that would make any traditional promoter sweat. Reports have already surfaced that he secured Alexander Usyk and the undefeated cruiserweight king, Jay Apaya. By signing these heavyweight hitters, White is signaling that he has the infrastructure and financial backing from TKO and Riyadh Season to put on the biggest shows in the sport's history. He's building a kingdom, and he knows that every kingdom needs a king to sit on the throne right now. That seat is empty, and Dana is saving it specifically for Crawford.
Usyk in a fight maybe as a one-off, but like Usyk signing with Zuffa doesn't feel like what I was imagining before. So
but
I
if
don't
you
know.
can sign him,
Oh yeah,
sign him.
Of course.
How many fights do you get out of him though? 2?
I mean, still, you're still getting him. Look,
Then you get 2.
by the way, you put those fights on Netflix. Netflix wants the big fights. They have the ability to make big fights. Like I think they're going to try to do AJ Fury on Netflix and be involved in it. And these are the
Zuffa is, you're saying?
Yeah.
What's their involvement?
What do you mean?
On which side of that fight?
They're just putting it on. Riyadh, AJ's tied to Turkey. Tyson's no longer tied to Top Rank. Let's go.
So the
We're
Tyson
putting it
side.
on. Dana's there, takes credit for it. Other people are paying, and they'll have to work with other people. Just like Canelo had his own little team, and Terrence has his team. But they're trying to put on the biggest events and be attached to the biggest events. So I think there's going to be a little bit of that and a little bit of what we're seeing this weekend.
I get what you're saying, but would that not be Matchroom and Queensberry, like or Top Rank rather? How would they get into the equation?
I don't think Tyson is with Top Rank anymore, and I think that they would just cut a deal. Every man has a price
With Tyson.
and they would be the promoters.
Yeah.
The numbers being whispered in the industry right now are nothing short of staggering. While Crawford reportedly cleared $50 million for the Canelo fight, the rumors circulating on social media and Reddit suggest Dana is preparing a massive offer in the 9-figure range. We are talking about a $100 million Godfather offer just to get Bud to pick up the phone. For a fighter who has already secured his family's future, it takes more than just good money to get back in the gym. It takes never having to work for 10 generations worth of money. Speculation is reaching a fever pitch that this offer set to be presented around July 2026 would be the largest single fight guarantee for any fighter not named Floyd Mayweather.
The 38-year-old Crawford announced his retirement last month with a carefully crafted 5-minute montage and followed it with a retirement party for family and friends this past weekend. Crawford left boxing with a perfect record of 42-0 and as the pound-for-pound king of the sport after beating Canelo Alvarez by UD in September to become the undisputed super middleweight champion. 100%. Crawford is an ATG, White told TMZ. He decided to retire. I think he should be out there fighting everybody. After seeing the masterpiece that he put on that night against Alvarez, he's so good and talented, I actually like him. He's a great guy. The tragedy with Crawford is that he didn't really achieve popularity until the tail end of his career. Really, after the Spence fight, delivering on his promise to beat Spence and become undisputed champion, some of us always knew how that fight was going to go. But it's not really until it happened that Terrence Crawford's popularity really started to peak. What none of us realized at the time was that Terrence would only be in the sport for 1 or 2 more years after that, and his popularity hit an all-time high when he thoroughly outboxed Canelo Alvarez, though having done that, and much left to do anymore. And that's the
However, money is only half the battle when you're dealing with a legacy-driven fighter like Crawford. Dana White knows that Bud is motivated by being the best to ever do it, and he's using that to his advantage. There is a young lion in the shadows that the boxing world won't stop talking about. Jiren Boots Andis. The narrative is already shifting, with critics claiming Crawford retired just to avoid the rising phenom. By offering Bud a super fight against Ennis under the Zuffa banner, Dana is offering him a chance to silence the doubters forever. The drama surrounding the weight class, whether they meet at 154 or 160, only adds to the tension. It's a high-risk, high-reward scenario that Dana knows a competitor like Crawford will find hard to ignore.